Hey everyone, welcome to a holiday edition of the Guile Treatment. Doing a little early this week because we have Thanksgiving, so everyone travel safe and enjoy your holiday or enjoy your time off. I guess whichever. And if it's neither, sorry.
Yeah, I gotta work, so I work 2 jobs that day. So boo.
On Thursday,
yes.
do you get like extra
Yes.
pay?
Oh, don't feel bad for me. Yes, I'm making a lot of money that day, so don't feel bad.
I know I had a cousin and he like one time was asked to come in on like Christmas and they gave him like triple time and he was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, they do that from a post office. My mom worked on, it wasn't Thanksgiving. I think it was like New Year's Day or something like that. They get like sometime, and she was like, yeah, I made like triple time, so I didn't care. I was like, yeah, it's pretty nice.
So we just had another smaller PTC in Canada. It was the sort of last minute Montreal PTC.
Yep.
I think they had 13 people?
Yeah, 13 people.
Cool.
So I think they had like 4 or 5 from Rochester, and then Steven and his wife from Toronto.
Was it that many?
It was like 4 or 5 people.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So Christine, Sean, and Kevin. Definitely. I don't know.
Did Andrew? Did Force go?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I saw Force or Jesse or Fields. Yeah, I didn't see any of them. So it might have just been 3.
3, and then I know Steven and his wife came over from Toronto, so they had 5, and then so they had 8 locals show up then. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. It was won by Sean O'Brien with Jeddah, which I think a lot of people agree is, just the first in many PTCs that Jeddah will be in contention for.
Yeah.
In the current meta.
Definitely.
I gotta say, I was very surprised that he was not running any copies of Drossel, main or side. He actually wasn't running any assets or actions main board, which was a bold move in
it paid
today's
off for
game. It sure did. He was running, I think, a couple of the new cards that are pretty good. A new master and Glissando. Yeah, which
he ran Jolly and Gloomy too.
Yeah, I think that was just like a 1x.
Yeah, that was a 1x, and Murderous Addiction was a 1x as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Murderous Addiction, that's basically like what was the old Raiden card?
Oh, that's Quinceañera.
No. It was the 3-diff.
Oh, you're talking about
the same thing. It was like first E, make the attacks like damage 0.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was called.
I wasn't looking for a fight. It was Large and Scary Giant, or Large and something Giant, I think. Yeah.
I have no idea. Anyway,
no block.
There was an old Ruler of Time card, guys, that everyone forgot about.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't Desperation. It was just normal first E.
Dude, honest. It also had a commit where you gave it like minus damage equal to like the control, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was the card that I sort of thought of when I first saw it. But yeah, I think that's good. It's another. I think it's a lot of things that there's some foundations now that I feel like they're really for that like turn 2, turn 3 like defense. And this is one of them. Now, I guess one of the cool additions I know we mentioned was the Greatest Combatant.
Yeah, Liu Kang's card.
And that's because of like a new master and Glissando that are both going to be putting face down in their card pool, so it's just like those like free stats, or I guess it's what, +1 or -1, right?
Correct.
So if you
reversal with Glissando, you can throw one of their momentum in. It's not even a combo either. It's just a normal E, so you can get more neck damage on it. So
yeah, I know. I was talking with Thomas this week, and I was telling him because he just loves trying to play these reprint characters, and I was like, if you reversal with a Glissando and have a new master with Twinkle, I was like, you can just give them 2 momentum and then basically just, I was like, you can just add 1 for a new master, add another 1 for Glissando, and, you basically just pillow forted them.
Yeah.
That's pretty reusable. So, I definitely think that that's something you'll be seeing. I mean, obviously Jet is probably the biggest, but yeah, you'll see some of this like pool clog like on your turn. So unless you're a Kuma and don't care about face downs, there's definitely going to be some of that going on.
Which is kind of cool because now it's not just Jeddah just straight debuilding you now. Now he can just pile in the momentum and still get a bunch of damage or damage negation and then disrupt your turn by doing effects like this. Mm-hmm. And it's not only him, too. It's like Tira can do it now. I guess if you really wanted to be adventurous and play Liu Kang 2 dot, you could do that, too. Which, after you activate the combo ability, you can...
The thing is I think Jeddah is probably going to do it the easiest, because that's the thing, is he gets to give you a momentum when he blocks, mm-hmm. and then when he, like, plays the reversal, it's like... Well, here's the thing, if you have none, he's going to give you one. Yep. Like, that's the thing, is you always want to sort of have the one, because you don't want him to just be debuilding you on your turn and drawing cards. Yeah. And so if he blocks, like, then you're going to get a second one. Mm-hmm. And then you have two, so if he reversals with a new master, like, you're like, this thing is, the commit, you have to have two or more. Yeah. And that's just going to be, like, real easy for Jeddah to be able to, like, maintain. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, not a surprise, I would say. Yeah. I think Jeddah is going to be one of the better characters moving forward.
Even with the loss of Spirit Gun, he's not going to lose any steam because he can do different things now with other attacks. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that maybe maybe he's not blowing up like every Foundation or staging area, but he definitely has other forms of disruption now as well. Like, he got even more sort of like momentum control tools, sure. And so he can probably use his debuild more, and he wasn't running like any of the other like Tira cards, right? Didn't she have one where she can like use their momentum for powerful or something?
That was Boulder Snare Crush or something like that. Yeah, he wasn't running that at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that there are all sorts of things that you can sort of play with and mess around with and see. Mm-hmm. He was running a ton of spam foundations. I think we said it was like 11 zero diffs, which seems like a lot. But I think part of it is, a little bit's getting an early build, and then I think the Syndicate Assassin is really just a block. A lot of his low blocks are on foundations that he probably wants to play. Sure. So that's just I don't think he has. I guess Glissando, and I think that's the only low block he has on an attack. So
Capsule's that?
Right, but that's a 1x, right?
Yeah, that's the 1x. Yeah.
Okay. So,
but it's still a low block
attack. It is. But yeah, I think that's about the blocks, and then really just the other ones, just strong abilities. There's definitely a lot of zero diffs that would probably be one diffs, like several sets ago. So
like Wishing War, easy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I wonder if Kevin felt annoyed losing the deck with this many spams.
We should probably get it. We should probably ask him. Someone should ask him that. It's like, how'd that
yeah, so I guess speaking of Kevin, he came in second playing himself. Playing, what was it, 14 assets?
14 assets and one action that really wasn't an action, but yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So, that's cool. So the big thing, he's running like the 1X, Mysterious Mr. X.
Yeah.
And, some Mr. X tools like Breaking Bread, Hi-Fi Stereo. Yep. And what was the one you said? The Siegfried one?
Yeah,
what's it called?
For Redemption is a new addition to the Mr. X plan, I would say.
Yeah. And that's great. He builds those face down, so he can basically pitch a card to pick up like one of his. It's sort of like a Kuwabara, right? Just pick up an attack that he built from his form or whatever. And I guess that's the other thing too, is like, I didn't realize this at first, but Meteor is a similar thing. He can blow up a foundation and get a different foundation, so that'll trigger the Hi-Fis, the Breaking Breads. Mm-hmm. What was it again? Desperate for Redemption.
Yes.
Yeah. And it lets him get Mr. X as well, which is going to be off symbol. It's one of the few cards that doesn't have good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is a deck like a lot of moving parts.
It looks like a Kevin deck. That's exactly. Yeah. Not only is it a Kevin Broberg 2 dot deck, it looks like a deck that Kevin would play in general. So, yeah.
I really like the 1X Pulse Flare. Yeah, it's fun.
I really like the addition. I really like seeing Shishio in decks that we were talking about pre-recording. I think that card's massively underplayed, but I think now that with good getting more tools, you're going to be able to see like the weapon builds be.
I mean, the thing is I think you're just going to see it a lot in decks that are running Meteor and Big Bang Strike and just other stuff that wants that gets you to like cheap build assets.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like blowing up like face down, like this thing is especially face downs once they've sort of served their purpose, like for damage and keeping you out of deadlock. Like those are both good. The fact that it can like clear a progressive, and get you a ready foundation for. I mean, I guess so. Right, like something like this. If you block a meteor and he's gotten one of these out, he can build it and then like, flash in a redemption and pick up the meteor.
Yeah, he can bring down 4 attacks out of his 20, 19. He can bring down at least 4 types of attacks. So, Shirayu-kan, deflection, swing, parry, and meteor can all come down with Shishio, so he can pick them up later if needed.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, like that's a good card. I ran it in a Satoshi deck and honestly had difficulty killing people if it wasn't out.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Yeah, just the like free damage on everything is great. So,
yep.
And then we had Reptile.
Yep, Steve Jennings playing Reptile.
He made it to top 4 because there was no top 8.
Yep.
But
the meme.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, as I said, you can't beat the memes, man.
Yeah, you can't. The memes is always I don't think he was even running any new cards. Was he running 1 or 2? Let me see. Don't think he was even running any new cards. Spender, Wear Light. No, actually, he did not have any. According to this, he didn't have a sideboard. So, yeah, it looks like he wasn't even running any Libra cards at all.
I don't know if there's a lot of Libra cards that
Reptile would play
are really beneficial. So
off of water, not really. I don't think so. Not offhand. I can't think of any. So
yeah,
the set's still a little too new for me to actually be snap recalling cards. So
yeah, I have no idea what the mid attacks are like either.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look.
So
we talk about something. I'm gonna take a look real quick and see.
Okay.
What you can talk about.
And we also had coming in 4th like an Aswell deck that was stacking Aswells. It looked a little bit torn. It looked like it wasn't sure if it wanted to be completely dedicated to mill or if it like possibly wanted some combat. There's some throws, multiples with like reductions.
There's 5. There's 5 mid attacks off of water.
Okay.
Are
any of them any good?
There's West Wind combo, which is not very good because it's
Talon stuff.
Stuff.
I mean, he's probably running some combos, but
Exploding Flame Roar, which would be kind of sick because that's like 6 damage and stun 2, but you need a combo weapon to attack that. Bamboo Blind Slice and Bleak Concerto Finale. So pretty like 5 dips.
The bamboo thing's pretty good on defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's a reversal, so
yeah, very true.
Yeah, I just don't know what kind of like weapons he's running. Yeah. But yeah, the Aswell, I don't know. That deck just looked torn between what it wanted to do. It was also really big. Yeah, I think it was like 80 something cards.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess he came in top 4, so I guess he was 3-1. So, definitely not a terrible showing, but. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not having seen the deck in action, like I'm not totally clear on like what it wanted to do. Like if it was, like it looked like there was some stuff that was flips, some stuff that was mill. I guess he started as Aswell 1. That's sort of what it seems to indicate, but I don't know if he would ever like change between games. So.
Yeah, it looks like that he's just really trying to just go all in on like his attack lineup doesn't really do damage. At all. Like it's just like he's just trying to mill his opponent out by playing a bunch of multiples by possibility and just using that Aswell E and maybe getting lucky and getting 6 damage on it.
Yeah, I don't know. So
yeah. Aswell made tops, kids. There you go. But yeah, so congratulations to everyone who made top 4. Congratulations to Sean. I know it's been a while since he's won an event in a long time. I think I think actually even played since what he played in the. I don't remember if he played in the Rochester event or not. And then I think Guelph he played in Guelph. He played Twinkle that one time that I remember. And he usually plays in teams, so.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah, I think that was like Guelph 2. I know at Guelph 1 he played Wiley.
Wiley? So. Okay. All right. Cool. So, no one got any points off the Montreal thing, but Rob said he was going to take Jetta.
I assumed he was taken.
No, he wasn't. Like, Phil took Jackie Briggs and Kung Jin.
See, I thought about Jackie because I thought Field might be going, but then I was like, I don't know if he is. I can't believe no one took Jetta.
Barrett took X and Kuwabara, and then I took Kevin Broberg or Yusuke, and then, your picks were, didn't get him in on time, I guess, so. But
I mean, I got him in, they just didn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody played either character, so.
Yeah, that's true. So, we still have our Davey PTC to worry about next weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. So, we still have another week.
That's this weekend.
It's Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, then. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yep.
Cool. So...
Want to modify your attendance pick?
No. I know, 25. Wow, that seems like a lot. I know, right? On Thanksgiving weekend. But yeah, so that's it for the Montreal coverage for the most part. We got the deck lists out really fast. That's something that's 2 events. We've had them out on the Sunday after the event. I believe these were out.
I think these were out the night of.
So
yeah, because I think that they were like. There was a delay on announcing like who had won, and I think when they did announce who won, they also posted the deck list. So I would assume the delay was them just typing up deck lists or putting them together.
Okay, so that's good that they've kind of stepped up a bit since Nats, because FAM had the indie ones out the day after, and then we had these out the night of. So thank you for hearing our concerns, everybody. For Jasco, we appreciate that.
Yeah, the Jersey ones came out pretty quick too. I think
that's true. Yeah. So we had drafts last weekend, so we didn't really talk about the drafts after having Phil on because we had a PTC coverage show. So Rob here won his event.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
It was an 8-man event, so I had to win it.
This guy coming out of the woodwork and winning events whenever there's a playmat involved, I guess,
literally, they didn't even tell us that it was like the Premier Store event for the month until like the second and third round. I was
really?
Like, oh. All right, well.
So you played Inferno, right?
Yeah, I did. Basically, like going in, I guess my target was Inferno. To me, so like I've sort of been joking with people. I was like, hey man, I got a play set of the best card in the set in my draft. I think like Shadow Slicer it's got to be up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an uncommon. So that's part of it. It's like I had to kind of see like how the pod would go. Like I took the stuff like early, didn't see any slice. Like there was a lot of stuff I didn't see at all. So I was like, like somebody else might be doing this. And then in the second pack, I got past 3 straight slicers, and I was like, well, here they are, and I guess no one else is doing this. So let's just see where it goes. Yeah, right, and then basically it was just that, and then backed by having like 35 health on a 6-hander. So
yeah, very true.
I ended up with like a pretty good deck. The one weird thing, and this was like, so we had 8 people, it was 2 pods of 4.
Sure.
And I think out of the 8 of us, I think there was one person who ended up with like a decent foundation count. And by that, I mean they only had to run like 15 attacks or something, sure. 15 or 16. I know I was at about like 21 or 22 foundations that I could play. There were other people that were at like 19, 20. I mean, almost everybody was putting like character cards in their deck just as blocks and checks.
Yeah.
There were people that were putting in cards that they couldn't play just because they needed to get to 40.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
So yeah, I mean, I know for the other pod, I think there were 2 Cervantes and 2 Astaroth. So like nobody there like pivoted to like a character that like, like that thing is like, somebody should have just played like Sung Mina or something, right?
Like an awesome deck. Dang.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. I mean, some of it, I think from what I heard, I think somebody like it was cards they opened. So I think like in the first pack, like somebody opened like one of the characters like assets, and the other person like opened the characters like
Rare,
ultra rare.
Sure.
And so then they were just trying to like force it the whole way around.
Mm-hmm.
This felt tougher than the UU draft just because there were more characters. I think there was like a little more overlap. I know, for instance, Evil and Fire is Astaroth and Inferno. I know who are the other two? I think Jeddah and not Jeddah.
Tira.
Valdo and Cervantes both have Death and Void. There might be one other that says like a double. Raphael and Amy both have Order and Life.
Yeah, and Life.
So like there are definitely characters where you're going to be in like heavy competition with somebody. If like even if you're playing different characters, like you're both going to be fighting over the support because it shares like two symbols.
Doesn't that kind of work out? Because like Cassandra isn't really that great because you're not going to have these assets viably like ready for you to use. Like you're going to, unless you open an asset, there's no way.
I mean, some people sort of said like that stuff like Cassandra and whatever. It's just sort of like Cassandra, Sungmina. It's like like there's going to be assets because like people won't necessarily be taking them.
True.
I didn't see a single asset. I didn't open any, and none got past me. So if they were getting opened, they weren't by me, and people were taking them. Mm-hmm. I know one guy did play Cassandra, and he was trying to play a bunch of like the 3 and 4 diff attacks with like high blocks to get the speed. And I actually played him like it was. I mean, the big problem with that is that he's playing like cheap attacks, and I had 35 life.
Yeah,
so,
he's never gonna kill you until you kill him. It'll take him forever to kill you.
And especially like drafting like some of the Astaroth throws. What's the one that's like a 4 mid 8?
Yeah, that's like.
And the thing is like if you have 2 attacks, so I had like 2 attacks and the one where it's like if they partial it, you add a damage.
Oh, sure.
And so the thing was like if he full blocked it, he was taking 6, and if he partially blocked it, he was taking 7, and so he just didn't block it and took 8. Like.
Yeah, that's just kind of nuts. That attack is kind of just
yeah,
it's crazy. What is it? Fight of the Wicked is a +1.
No, it's the other one.
There it is. Vicious Madness. That's one that can't be partially blocked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times where I would do that. I would just be like, "You can't partially block this," and they would just eat it because they didn't have a mid.
Yeah.
That was actually something. It seemed like there are so many low blocks in this set, and there are not that many low attacks.
Yeah, I ended up with like more low blocks than mid blocks in my deck. But
I had a ton of lows. None of them were particularly good. There was a lot of like +2s and +3s.
Mm-hmm.
And then some like my high blocks were good. They just typically were on cards that I kind of wanted to play.
Sure.
And then, like, honestly, that was one of the reasons I put in, like, I changed some of my attacks, and I put in, like, a character, I put in a copy of Astaroth, just because I wanted mid blocks. When I started looking through my cards, I was like, I have so many lows, I have so many highs, I have, like 5 mids. I was like, this is terrible.
Terrible.
So, yeah, I think, other than that, I mean, I got as many copies as I could of Inferno's 2 diff. That gives like +1/+1 if you have a copy of the attack removed.
Like,
I think it's like something host.
It's like something destruction, I believe.
Yeah. And at the end, like there was some stuff going around. And I had like one pack, and this was like when I started to realize I was low on foundations. And so I took something and I passed this pack, and I was like, dude, like I don't think anyone is on any of Inferno's symbols. So like. I had the one Worthy Vessel or whatever, and I was like, this one's coming back to me. And it didn't. I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Because, like, I think the other people on pod, there was another Cervantes. So there were 3 Cervantes in our 8-man tournament.
Jesus.
There was another Cervantes, a Baldo, and a Cassandra.
And I
was like, who the fuck took my Worthy Vessel? Like, none of you can play it. And I looked over, and the Baldo guy has, like, 2 of them in his cards getting ready to play, and I was like, dude, like, you can't play that card. He's like, what? And he, like, checks his... He was new. And he, like, checks his symbols, and he's like, oh, shit. I was like, man, my deck would be way better with 2 more copies of Worth the Vessel in it right now. So, yeah, heat drafting, and he didn't even know it.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, I ended up playing Scott in the third round. He was Astaroth, and he actually had enough. He was the one who had enough foundations, so he only had like 15 attacks. So he actually like passed his checks, somehow still drew attacks. Was absolutely destroying me with Deathlord Impalement. Honestly, the way like our matchups were weird because it was basically just like whoever went to Desperation first, like won.
One, sure.
And the issue is like he has so much more control over it because he can pay life and I can't.
Yeah.
I can do it, but I can only do it for my like support cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically needed to like, maybe poke early, but kind of leave him high enough that like he wasn't going to get into Desperation on his like second attack.
Mm-hmm.
And basically just bait him into trying to like attack me and then get close enough that I could like backswing him.
Just backswing him. Sure.
So I ended up taking it like 2-1 at time. But yeah, it was definitely tough. Astaroth is a weird one. Like, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how he ends up in Constructed. I definitely think he's probably one of the better draft characters just because like at the support, with not having to worry about like the symbol stuff, like the fact that he can run some of the Inferno cards, like right. I mean, Deathlord Impalement is pretty nutso, and especially for him, like he's going to give it damage, and between himself and the card, like he's giving it at least 4 speed, sure. And then there's just the other stuff that's pretty easy to pay 1 or 2 here and there. Mm-hmm. I know the one game he had the 3-diff foundation that like is commit to give your attack like plus or your throw +4.
Oh, sure.
Or it's like I think it's pay 3 to like flip a foundation, or maybe you pay the cost of the foundation or something. But like
it's just pay 2, flip it, and then flip one of your opponent's foundations.
Okay, so he did that. So he like paid for that, flipped like my like throw hate. And then paid 2 for Astaroth, paid 2 for that, paid something else, and then like it was right. It was like this like 11 speed, like 20 damage. And
then
like
you went. I'm at 15.
No, I went. Well, I'm gonna die, so here's my Astaroth block. Oh look, I checked a 3. I'll tap out, and then he's like, "Here's another impalement," and I was like, "All right, let's go to the next game."
Oh, nice.
I was like, "How many impalements do you have?" He's like, "Oh, I got 2." It's like, all right, you know how many games he saw 2? All of them.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's like I guess that's the thing is my overall impressions of the set. It's interesting. I think as a draft, like it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like there's definitely a lot of like give and take. But I don't think any of the characters are very good in sort of like the wider meta.
Yeah.
I think there's a few that are fine, but I think on the whole they're like a step down in pretty much everything except like Vitality.
Yeah.
There's a couple like pretty beefy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is probably that like there's actual like costs and conditions to their abilities, which as we've sort of seen, we've talked about a few times with some of the Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers characters, everything's just free.
Mm-hmm.
So I worry a bit, I guess, about how like some of the support will be in other characters. That's sort of the thing is I think some of the best cards in the set are just going to go in other decks.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's too many characters. Like the characters, I think Cassandra's one of the better ones. But she's still a 7-hander. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I mean, there's some characters that kind of have like some. I think the new Maxi is still pretty ridiculous. Actually, he's probably the best character in the set, effectively. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely cards. Like, there's some of the assets are really good. Like Meteor is really good.
Yeah, Meteor's dumb. Big Bang is stupid too.
That's the thing. Shield Big Bang is interesting, right? Yeah. I think that's a card that probably is going to end up doing stuff, but I think it's also overhyped. But we'll see. I think it's definitely a card that is going to kill people, but it's one of those ones, right, where you're just going to have to almost like build your deck around it, or it's something that you kind of like just throw. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like a 6/6,
No.
and so, but like, right, the fact that you're running these assets, I guess there's a lot of cards that are almost like mid to late game cards. So like Shield Big Bang is just like, well, I'm gonna close this game out. Like I have some momentum. I have a bunch of assets in my bin. Like boom, 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 boom. Shadow Slicer is a similar thing. You know, it's like especially if you're in deadlock or you're in desperation, it's a 3 diff. Yeah. It's just like 6/6, 6/6, 6/6, plus whatever else you can throw on it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like a little. It's like a baby.
That's like an 8 high for 12 in Scorpion.
Yeah.
If you're in desperation. Yeah.
It's something you can continue to pay like the 2s, but
yeah, considering
I mean, there's so many characters that can run that card though. Oh, like there's a lot on those symbols that will benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even it's like somebody like Goro or Byakko who's just going to mill a ton. Like those things, you can almost just start with one and be like, I'm going to mill like 7 or 8 cards. Like maybe I'll hit another copy. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Let's play it again.
Play it again.
Play it again. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I would expect to see that a lot. I mean, the only drawback is that it's a non-block. What am I thinking? I'm blanking on the name now.
What?
It was the Natali card. It was the same thing. It was a 4 mid 4 that was like pay 2 for 2/2.
Oh, Chasm Buster.
Yeah.
That also had stun 2 and a block on it.
I understand that, but it was also a 5 diff.
It was a 5/3, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was a 5/3.
Yeah. And this is a 4/3 that is often going to be a 3/3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know what? You can have that stun 2. I'll take the loops.
Yeah, the loops are pretty good, yeah.
That's sort of, I guess, one of the big things too, right? Is this seems to have a lot of kind of weird like combo potential with like loops, recursion, which isn't something I'm really used to having in UFS.
Yeah.
I think they've had it like in the past, but like it doesn't feel like something that's really been there since I've been playing with Jasco UFS.
Yeah, I don't.
At least not to this degree. You know what I mean?
There was Kim back in like the King of Fighters days. He would loop 2 kicks over and over again.
See, that was a character that like these are like non-character cards.
Yeah, they're non-character cards this time. Yeah.
I mean, basically, you had stuff. You had like, you have like transform. What was it? The head crush.
Sure.
What Kiara? I guess right.
Oh yeah, Kiora got stuff back. Sure. Yeah.
Get back non-reversal slams.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. None of them seem like right. A lot of those are non. I mean, I guess head crushes, but like non-attacks that are getting attacks, and these are just sort of like attacks that are like replaying themselves or getting themselves back.
Yeah, very true.
So we'll see. Again, it's something that like it probably doesn't matter that much because like it's rarely something that's going to be that big of a deal on like turn 2, turn 3. Although I'm sure we're going to see some people try to build like Shield Big Bang decks that have like 30 assets in them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be any good.
I think that may be the plan to start off with for a lot of people, and then they're going to realize they're not going to be able to block anything, and then they're just going to die.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, it depends on who you are, right?
Yeah, true.
I mean, you might just be Gil.
Yeah, and Gil don't care. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll make this a 10 high 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll gain 2. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
My draft was okay at best. I came in 4th, I think. I drafted Tira. No, I came in like 6th. We had 9.
Oh, you drafted Tira? I think she's terrible.
I got Tira because I had her ultra rare in her ultra rare in the second pack, and I was already going.
See, I opened Talum's ultra rare in my like second or third pack. Yeah. I sure didn't change to Talum.
Oh no, I had already picked. What was it? Blah blah blah. One of her attacks already. It was Glissando. I had Glissando in my opening pack, and I was like, well, I'll try to go for like a water or a death character, and then I'm just like, oh well, I got Tira, so we'll just try Tira out because I just wanted to try her out. I didn't really care, It was just.
Realize you could play Inferno, right? He's got evil.
Well, Little did I know, no one in my pod drafted Inferno or Astaroth. No, one guy drafted Astaroth, so I could have had half the cards at least, right?
Yeah.
And then, so I end up with a decent deck, I think. I don't have a lot of throw. I try to draft as much throw hate as possible because she like dies.
There's not a lot.
Nah, there's I had one of the Cervantes cards where it was commit, attack deals no damage, or they discard a card, which didn't really matter in the long run because every time I got to use that card, the one time I got to use it, I was dying anyway, so it didn't matter. And then I had one.
Or they just pitch a card and say whatever.
Yeah, but it didn't matter because I was dying on their turn anyway. Like I was dead for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the Astaroth flips, the throw attack deals no damage. His own throw hate. Round one, I get paired into Inferno. Game one, he's looping Shadow Slicer, and then I'm just like, well, if I don't check a 2, I live and kill you on the backswing. Check a 2 and die. Game 3, I forget. Game 3, I die because he draws like he got 2 of the Astaroth throw and a Shadow Slicer with Shadow Slicers, so I was just like, well, I'm dead. And then round 2.
Yeah, Shadow Slice is pretty good, right?
It's all right. It's okay. Then I don't remember. I know I won round 2. I don't remember who I beat. It was a 2-0, but I beat them. And then round 3, I got to play against Astaroth, and he just straight 2-0'd me like I was like a piece of paper, like that was wet in the wind. It was.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is like there's a decent number of throws,
mm-hmm.
and he put like damage, that. Man. I guess that's the difference, right? Like the difference between Astaroth and Inferno is Astaroth's like, I'm going to lose a little bit of life, but here's 3 damage.
Yeah.
So if you don't block, you're going to take damage, and if you do block, well, you're probably going to take more damage because it's a throw.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that with Inferno where I would just like throw big, like pretty big attacks, like 6-8 damage,
mm-hmm.
and people would just be like, I'll just take it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right,
like cool, man. Like
it's damage, but honestly, I kind of want to like remove a couple attacks. Like I'd like to burn you for 2 and get some of this other stuff set up for next turn. So
I got to activate her Desperation R at the combat phase once the entire tournament. Which again, draft is completely different than constructed because she's gonna have more tools to survive in constructed. There isn't a whole lot in this format, so. Should just went with the 6-hander, like I wrote it in my draft write-ups. Is go with the health pool, go with giant attacks. They usually can never fault you. So I didn't even follow my own draft strategy. So it's okay.
You opened one ultra rare and went, I'm doing this.
Dude. And then I got a Scarlet Meteor in my last pack, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna keep this because I'm not gonna do well. So, but yeah, Marco Saladino ended up winning our event with Inferno. He went 3-0. No, he went 1. He went 2-0-1. So the guy's he won first place on strength of schedule points. So it was like 3 packs difference between first and second. So
Inferno's pretty good.
Yeah, Inferno's pretty good. That helped pool. He won one in Omaha too, and then yours. So the ones I know, he's won like three pretty good drafts. So
yeah, I've seen some Astros win too. So
yeah,
like.
Yeah, I would have went Cassie. I know we had a guy go as well, and he had a lot of fun. He just drew a bunch of cards. He didn't do very well. I mean, like he had fun, so that's all. I guess that really matters a lot.
Yeah, there was in our pool. Like I was with the one guy from Baltimore who won with the Karama a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was trying to when the first stuff had gone around, and like whatever it was he was drafting wasn't working. I don't remember what it was. And I was trying to sort of nudge him draft Sungmino.
Yeah.
And he did not.
Oh.
Because I saw some of the Amy stuff start going around, and Sungmino with Amy's reversal is so fucking good.
Oh,
you just play the reversal, give it stun 3, commit a foundation, give it stun 2, and you just stun 5 them. Sure. Sure.
Seems pretty good. Yeah.
So, but he did not get that hint. So
yeah, it was a good time. Let us know how your drafts went in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought, because Oh yeah, Deathlord's Impalement's a card too, especially if Astaroth can play it. So that card.
That's the thing. I think it's better in Astaroth, especially in draft. I think it's better in Astaroth than it is in Inferno.
Yeah, you can just cut yourself with so much, and then it's just like, well, I guess you're in desperation now, so I guess you get all this damage or whatever.
That was the other problem, man. Is like because that's a desperation 3 too. So like Astaroth, when he gets in desperation, there's so many like there's a bunch of attacks that he can play that are like like 4 difficulty, 3 difficulty. And I was thinking, and Scott's just checking 5s, and I'm like, dude, why do you have so many good checks? Oh, none of us have good checks. We're all like 50-50 decks, and he's just like, ugh, because I'm not bad.
Yeah, that's exactly what he'd say. I'm not bad, Robert. That's why I can see that.
Well, he's still lost. Like that's the other thing too. Like, and maybe it's just because I'm like a little bit of like a sucker for it. There's a lot of those like marginal benefits in this set, and I just love I guess it's especially like
incremental advantage cards,
Inferno stuff, like the free 1/1s or like cut for 1 to give like +2 or -2, and just like little things like that. That's the stuff that I really like. That's just like the tiny, there's just like the little things that like add up, and you can get to the end of the game and be like, oh shit, like I'm at 2 life, and I've used Vessel like twice on defense, so like I might be dead otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are sort of like the fun things for me. I guess that's the other thing too. Is the other fun thing with like Inferno is like you just have stuff, and your opponent's at like 3, and and they're like, well, you have any attacks? And I'm like, yeah, but they're not throws, and they're just like, and.
Yeah.
You're like, oh right, I'll play this.
Yeah, we had
I'll block it. I'll burn you for 2. Do you have another attack? Yes. Okay, let's go.
Did you have anybody who tried to draft Amy at all?
No, not at ours.
We had a guy go Amy, and he had 3 copies of her.
Okay, I saw the one picture of the person who had like 6 Amy's.
Yeah, no, he had 3 Amy's, and one guy scooped to him in the middle of the game because he's like, I'm tired of him. Just like, I'm done. Like, because he'd always change the zones to the attack.
Oh, so he got 3 more Amy's. So he had he could actually change their zones.
No, he couldn't. He had 3 total Amy's, so he could only change his zone. But he would just change. He would just guess. He guessed really well on his opponent's block mod, so his block zone. So he'd always just randomly change it to something to where the guy couldn't block it. So he'd just be like high, and all he had was lows or something like that. So instead of keeping one of every block, he just kept one zone, I guess. So, but yeah, it's just Amy's an interesting one. I want to build her first, but then I look at Raphael, and I'm just like, well, if I can figure out how to kill people with Raph, I'd rather play Raph because he can basically never die if he, because he can just block all day, and what am I known for? Not killing people. So there you go. It's like a character right after my own heart.
Yeah, I guess my issue with Raphael, at least in draft, is like I'm not totally sure like how he kills anybody though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I'm just not going to construct it. I would. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, but I think that's an issue with a lot of the characters in the set. Is like, well, they don't put a lot of them don't put damage on their attacks. There's a few that put speed, and for the most part, they do like these really neat effects that are going to be better and constructed than draft. So, I look at Cervantes and I'm just like, well, I guess I don't do much during the game. It's like
Cervantes is a weird one for me. Like, I don't know. I'm still not sold on playing a lot of reversals as like a thing right now, just because of how big attacks are. Like, if you're playing a reversal, that's like, I mean, you got to almost be like Karama, right? Or like X. Where you're like, okay, I'm going to play this like reversal or like quasi-reversal. And, I mean, I guess Glissando is a pretty good one for this. If it's just like, I'm going to like completely jack up your turn, either with like stun or pool clog or like something else. Or if you're like Karama, you're like, well, I'm going to play this reversal, but it was my block. So I'm really not losing anything.
Yeah.
Like it, almost has to be stuff like that. I mean, I guess Cervantes, the idea is more like, yeah, you can just block and not reversal. You can just play the R, and then next turn when you play stuff, it's big. But yeah, reversaling, like especially as a 7-hander, like it just, I think it still feels bad.
Yeah, Topher's pretty
Like,
bad. Yeah.
so.
Unless like Song Mina, like since if you can add stun on your stuff, like she can. Like,
Right, but she's a 5-hander too. Like that's the thing is, yeah. I mean, like, but that's sort of the same thing, right? Like I mean, I talked about if you play her, you give stun 3. You like, I think her what is it? She has Amy's attack that gets stun 2.
Yeah.
And then I think Bamboo Slicer. If you have the combo, it gets stun 2, but that's a rare. I think on her symbols there's 3 reversals, and 2 of them are rare. Is the problem? One of them is Raphael's.
Yeah, that one.
And one of them is Bamboo Cutter or Slicer, whatever it is, Mitsurugi's.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is Amy's. But I think that's an uncommon.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, I was considering playing her as well because, like, I mean, she has all, so I could still play the Slicers. And I just didn't see any of the Amy cards going around until, right, the same sort of thing, until, like, probably, like, the 4th pack.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's way too late to, like, shift anything now, so.
Yeah.
Also, like, her 5 diff with, like, the +1 high is so nuts. Like, for her, is just
the
like
one where she's spinning around. That one that you.
I guess it gets like +1 damage for each foundation that they've committed.
Yeah.
And it has stun 1, so like for her, you're giving it like 3 speed, stun 3. It already has stun 1, so it's gonna be like
Radiant Wing.
It's gonna be like 7 speed or something for like 10 damage. And if they block it, you're gonna pick it back up.
You get to draw a card too. If they don't block it, you draw a card. So
but that's just the kind of thing for her. Like, you know, I mean, I had so many of those, and I just ended up not running them because they didn't go as well with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's a card where I don't think the competition for it's going to be that. Like, if you're playing her, like, you could pretty easily probably get like, because I think it's a common, so you can probably get like 3 to 6 copies. And, like, that's so good on just, like, turn 2, throw it out, big stun. It's going to be super fast. They're probably not going to block it. And, you know, you're going to just take a 10 damage chunk out of them. It's just like, okay.
Good. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And even, like, later, I mean, you know, you can play it, and if they block it, you can play it again, and it'll just have 7 damage. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think she's probably fine in draft. You probably just don't get the asset ability.
Yeah, we had a guy freak out because the guy, the player he was fighting, used her enhance to pick up her once per turn, and he goes, "What? I lose my attack on block? That's stupid." Like, nah, it's just the way it works, man.
I was gonna say that's the other thing too is like she actually has like on character throw hate as she currently functions, and I guess they didn't errata her when they put out the erratas, so I guess.
She
I mean so like. Yep.
Onboard throw hate. Pretty good.
Actually, she has onboard slicer hate.
There you go, right there. Yeah, onboard.
Because that was actually we were looking at so we're like, what? We're like, what in the set even stops slicer? And it's basically like Sung Mina. I guess there's some like rare or ultra rare like Inferno attacks that like remove 2 cards.
Oh, sure.
From like I think your opponent's thing, so you can basically play and be like, get those slicers out of there.
Yeah.
And then his Worthy Vessel. Like, you can just flip it to remove.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not going to stop the first one, because their first E is just going to be remove that. I'm going to get it another time, but you can, like, remove, like, the second copy or something.
Copy,
so.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Yeah, it was a good time, though. I had a blast, even though I didn't do so hot. So, you know, whatever. But then I won our Premier Store event later that week. So, yeah. Won it with Lilith off of tiebreakers. So, yeah. Yep. We had a 5-man event, and only two people played Lilith. And we basically played the same deck because we were abusing the Manifestation and Endless Determination part of the life event. It's E-commit.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like E-commit ready, E-commit, commit a card on their side. So, yeah. But we have the Order one coming up. So I have to...
Is that 2 decks?
2 decks, yep. I'm doing...
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all, but we're looking forward to the Void one.
Void one. Yeah, I'm gonna do Cammy and Taki for.
I think I'm gonna play anybody that can play Shadow Slicer.
I'm thinking about doing Scorpion for that one, just for that. So I'll just play Scorpion.
I'm debating. I'm debating if I want to play. Like, playing Scorpion just seems like such a dick move, but
it does. But who cares? Whatever. It's for the Raphael mat, and I want it. So that's the only mat I wanted out of all the Soul Calibur mats so far. Well, I got the Taki mat, but out of the new ones, this is the only one I want. So, and like I can hold it over Hardiman's face because he really wants that mat, and I'm like, hey Mike, you want it? So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There hasn't been any. Oh, Jasco's new website.
Oh,
Is up.
actually, we mentioned the erratas, right?
Yeah, the erratas. We should do let's do the erratas and go into the kind of the new news of the week. So,
I mean, honestly, I don't think any of the erratas are surprising.
No.
I think there's some stuff that probably could have further been. Like, I mean, we talked about Sung Mina. I know there's been some debate over Pure of Hearts E, and it should probably just say they can't play abilities during this attack instead of until this attack resolves. But whatever.
They fixed Big Bang before print, so I mean at print, so that's good.
Yeah.
So don't have to worry about that one. That one's a big one. I don't know. There hasn't been any Pure of Heart screaming for banning yet, so that's a plus. So not yet. Even though it gave Scott Sundman his own tier on his tier list, there was a Pure of Heart tier list, a Pure of Heart section on the tier list, so which is pretty cool. But yeah, Marion Age got clarification or / errata.
Well, that's an errata. That's errata. I mean, that was sort of the funniest thing, right? Is that card is like a copy and paste of whatever the old card was.
Huang something.
Protection or something? Yeah.
Something.
And the funny part is the old card said due to their effect, and they like left that part off.
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to save text space or something.
Probably.
I think it's a novel.
Yeah. I mean, probably, but it's sort of like funny to me that, you know, you leave that off and it's like, you know, there's a character that readies stuff, right?
Yeah, that's like the most important part of the whole thing, you know. Silly people.
Oh, what was it? It was that. They made Leap of the Loach face down, which, you know, that was just left off.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was like one or two other small things, but
nothing like Spirit Gun level of changing. No. So yeah. Exciting. We have a case opening video on the channel. If you guys haven't seen it went up on Saturday. Me and Trent opened up our case, and I opened up a fourth box for funsies. So it was a good time. Good time. Got 4 big bangs out of it. Very happy. Not enough Scarlet Meteors to go around though. So unfortunately. So, but yeah.
Tough times.
Tough times. Whatever. Gotta just take what I get, I guess. So really no other news except for there's PTC this weekend in Florida, Davie, in Florida. I don't know exactly where the shop's at. I forget. So. Oh,
I guess that's a December PTC.
Yeah, that's true.
It was sort of assumed, but they confirmed that.
Yeah.
And so that means that Power Struggle is going to be legal by the time this video goes back up. So everybody, you have a little more throw hate for those Astros.
Could use that. And we're waiting on I know the Indie PTC price support was delayed because of a train explosion. So
it was a derailment.
Same thing. So that should be getting out to everyone soon. I haven't really touched base with Ryan Pham. I know they've probably been busy doing stuff. So I would hope all that stuff would get out to us before Thanksgiving, so we all have our...
what are they, just mailing it?
I think they're just mailing everything. So okay. I know the indie shop, Saltier, they got their price support on the Monday after they posted it. They got the Monday after. So I don't know if they're going to be mailing it or if Jasco's going to be mailing it. I have no idea what's going to happen. So maybe I should contact Ryan Pham and ask him. That'd probably be a good thing to do. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. Big news, JascoGames.net is now live. I guess the .com redirects to the .net now.
I think so, yeah.
And there isn't very much other than like you can buy some stuff, and there's not.
It's basically a storefront at this point.
Storefront right now. They said they're going to be uploading all the text documents sometime soon. So we'll see. At least we have a viable website now, I guess. So whatever. It's not black background anymore, so that should make you happy. So.
What?
What's the problem with it? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to go. I don't really have much else. We have our Premier Store event's the 27th. No, it's not. It was already this month. It was on the 20th. I won it. 27th, we're going to do a stream. It's probably going to be a small 5-man tournament at the shop because of Thanksgiving. A lot of people aren't going to be there, so... Other than that, we got a couple other articles coming out that are in the works. I'm still working on my
Yeah, I gotta probably redo here. We got some new fire support. I might
That would be
make a
sick.
fire.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, PA can play Shadow Slicer.
Yes, you can. That's like an 8 high for 6. Seems pretty good.
It's not bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
Here's the funny thing, right?
Good.
Is like everyone's like going nuts about like Shield Big Bang and be like, oh, I can loop this like 6 high 6. It's like, you know, I can play a 6 high 6 too, and like, yeah, I mean, I guess like I can't play it, you know, 15 times, but I can play it 4 times.
That's really all you need.
And
though,
I
right?
don't need any assets.
Yeah.
I just need to get other copies of it in my discard pile.
Yeah. Like, doesn't that seem easier though? Like, you only need those copies in your discard, and then you just play it once, and they have to deal with what 24 damage.
I'm just saying, like, it's a really good card.
It is. It's very good. And, yeah. And eventually you get yourself into desperation, so then you can just Deathlord Impalement them to death. You know? Because that card's insane too. You know? But for a common or uncommon. So it's cat's level, is what I called it. It's cat's level. So it's an ultra rare disguised as a common. That's why it was on the thumbnail. See? I was thinking ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
I was thinking ahead. Yeah. So Barrett should be back with us next week. We'll do Davey recap and Thanksgiving Day recap and see how things are going with everyone. So talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care of yourselves while you're traveling. Hug your mom and dad. Say hi to your grandparents for us. Bye.